And these are real stories. These are real Santas. And we have to tape them early, actually, because they get very busy during this month. And then on Christmas Eve, we'll all look for them. Okay, what comes to your mind first?
Well, last year we were doing the chair for a local city, doing the official chair for the city. And it was the last day of the last weekend we were there, and it was a huge crowd. And I was working the throne out near the street, and we had a great crowd. And we started hearing horns, and then we started hearing sirens, and Mama was like, what's going on? And finally, we started to send somebody out to the street because our crowd was moving that way. And then we saw two motorcycle cops come by the square, and then the fire chief, a rescue truck, and right in the middle was the hook and ladder for the city, and right on top was, I kid you not, one of the worst fake bearded Santas you have ever seen in your life. It was so precious. The guy was waving with one hand and holding his beard with the other, and it was so cute. And the people on the ground became insistent that the Santa on the chair see the Santa on the truck. So seeing what was going on, I stood up and started waving at him, and he started waving back, and the crowd just fell about the place. And then when they all started, the parade turned the corner and went the other way, and the crowd started drifting back toward us. And I could sense that there was a little uneasiness about the crowd, as if the spell we'd been working on might have been broken. So I jumped up and gave the biggest ho, ho, ho I had in me, and I turned to Mama and I said, you see, Mama, it's like Elvis always told us. No matter how good the impersonator is, they'll always prefer the original.
All right, now, Mama, what happened next?
A couple of nights later, we were working at a private party, and when we called in, the folks asked us to hang out around the corner because they have a Santa that goes through their neighborhood every year. It's a tradition, and the kids come out to the streets. They didn't want us given away right away.
Get this, on a fire truck.
On a fire truck in their city, and we waited around the corner. There were some folks that lived in this house. We had the air conditioner on because it does get a little hot in the fur. And they kept looking at us like, are we there to steal from their house or whatever? But anyway, the folks called us later. We did the party. When we left the party, that fire truck happened to be pulling back into the fire station. So I had Santa stop the car a few doors down from the fire station. I was still in full costume, and I got out, ran up to the fire station. It was like, yoo-hoo, Santa! He had no idea that we were even there.
You naughty boy.
And I walked up and whispered in his ear and told him we were in the city, and we just wanted to let him know that he racked in on our time too. But folks were on the fire truck, and they were like, oh, Mrs. Claus, Mrs. Claus. They were not expecting us.
Funniest thing there was the Santa's wife, who had no clue who this woman was.
This goes to show you they're never too old, and you can't always judge the book by the cover.
Absolutely right. That is what it's all about.
You either believe or you want to believe.
That's right.
That's the two categories where Santa's concerned. Absolutely.
What memories do you have? What's your first one?
By the way, not to disagree with Mary, but this is one book you can judge by the cover.
That's right.
It's all about Santa.
That's right. And by the way, in the cover, this is Santa Cliff.
Yes.
Another of the. Do you say it right? As a they're professional Santas.
Absolutely.
You're professional Santas. And these are real. And by the way, these are on the internet on Barnes and Noble and Amazon.com, and at most of the bookstores. And if not, they can certainly order them. I just wanted to get that commercial in. Now, the tough crowds have to be the most fun though, because then you have to be on your toes and you have to react to them.
Yeah, there's life in the audience. It's not a still life painting that I'm performing before. You got to have somebody to play off of. And you know what? I got to tell you something. To me, it's the dads. More than anything else, it's the dads. Because I think that there's something in a dad's nature that makes him stay mortally attached to reality, perhaps for the protection of his family or something. And maybe that renders him just slightly less capable to really get into Santa Claus. But I'm going to tell you, when we're working the chair and the crowd is helping and the spell starts, you can feel it. You can feel the spell when it starts to work. I'm going to tell you something. There's nothing that gives Santa a tingle like catching a dad's eye and realize that he just realized that he's believing in this as much as his kids are. That's why I love it.
What do you do with the kids that are like afraid of Santa Claus when you're there?
For instance, one school that we did last year, little kids, they ranged from kindergarten to 6th grade, and there was one little girl, her mother came to the school to actually take pictures of her with Santa. She absolutely refused. Each of the teachers had given each of the kids a gift for Christmas, and this little girl she didn't even want anything to do with me, to be perfectly honest. But she was about your distance from me, and she had her toy in her hand. I said, "Oh, what did you get?" And she starts telling me, so at this point I grab hold of the toy, and now I'm right up against her back, and Mom's taking pictures. And we chatted for a little bit, and then I had her in my arms within a few moments, feeling my fur, having a really nice time, and I backed up and sat down on Santa's lap, and she got her picture taken with Santa. And the next thing you know, she turned and looked at him like this, and I went, "Feel his fur, it's so soft." And she felt his fur, and then she was touching his beard and everything, and Mom was all excited.
Mama is what the photographers call a getter. And that's when the grin gets just a little bit bigger.
And the twinkle is in the eye.
I did want to ask a fellow professional, how do you deal with the physical pain of being Santa, specifically right here toward the end of a long day? I ache at the end of a day.
And it's now time to wrap this all up, put a big bow on top, and put it under the Christmas tree.
Well, to those of you who want to believe in Santa, remember this. If you think Christmas is real, you must think Santa is real. And to those of you who already believe in Santa, I'll see you at Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everyone around the world, and keep believing. I still do.
And now it's that special time to wish everyone a Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! I'll see you at Christmas!